Hey G.I. Joe fans, today we're going to look at a special figure, one that I actually own 15 different versions of, but there are more in the 25th anniversary and higher line. So today, being that we're also getting 3 wolves and a vehicle in this video. So because it's already going to be a long video, we're skipping our shout outs of the week this week, where, today we're looking at Snake Eyes. And we're going to start with the Ninja Apprentice Snake Eyes. And we're going to start with the file card for the Ninja Apprentice Snake Eyes, which he came in a comic 2-pack with the Hardmaster. It says Ninja Apprentice, codename Snake Eyes, file name classified, primary military specialty is infantry, secondary military specialty is hand-to-hand combat instructor, birthplace is classified, and his grade is E7. And it says Snake Eyes was an enlisted soldier in the military and served with Storm Shadow. During one mission, Snake Eyes was severely wounded when his long-range recon patrol, or LRRP, unit got into a firefight with the enemy. He owes his life to Storm Shadow, who dodged enemy fire to rescue his fellow soldier. Snake Eyes left the service to study mystic martial arts with the Arashi Kage clan, which has trained Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes became a star pupil of the Hardmaster and received the clan's hexagram tattoo upon completing his training. The quote at the bottom says, Snake Eyes was tempered on the anvil of life until he was as dangerous as a razor-edged sword flailing in the dark. The G.I. Joe team sheathed that sword and harnessed its deadly energy. But even they sometimes forget that a blade still retains its cutting edge within the safety of its scabbard. So that says a lot for this Snake Eyes. But this one, being that there's so many, I'm not going to read all the file cards at once and then look at the figures. And I'm going to do each one separately. So as we go with the accessories with Ninja Apprentice Snake Eyes, he's got his figure stand, upraised G.I. Joe logo, codename Snake Eyes. He's got his scabbard he can put on his back, as well as his katana blade, and his wooden bow staff with cloth wrapped around on 2 parts of the middle. And then here you go with the Ninja Apprentice Snake Eyes in his gray ninja gi with the white areas. And of course he's got the hexagram taped up right there on his forearm. But his head can rotate the full 360. He's got some up and down, side to side movements. His arm can raise so high, rotate all the way around, bends at the elbow, rotates at the elbow, and he can rotate at the fist. And he does have the ab crunch feature, which he can also turn from side to side. And in his legs, he can almost do a full split. His leg can lift forward, double bend at the knee. He can pivot at the ankle, as well as rotate. So he's got a pivot and rocker on the ankle. So let's go ahead and just gear him up. So here's this Snake Eyes all geared up, ready to go. I think this, personally, in my opinion, it's got to be a cool looking Snake Eyes. We never got this in the vintage line, but I think this was a cool looking Snake Eyes, for the modern era. It's always good to have figures from their background, characters in their background outfits. How he trained in the Ninja Arashi Kage Ninja Clan. So we'll put him off to the back. And our next, I'll set up for our next figure. And this is our next version of Snake Eyes. that came in the DVD battle pack of the Mass Device. And this one come with a version of Timber. So let's go ahead and read his file card. Commando, codename Snake Eyes. File name classified. Primary military specialty infantry. Secondary military specialty hand-to-hand combat instructor. Classified, birthplace is classified. His grade is an E7, which is he's still at the same rank. It says Snake Eyes has dueled and defeated the most fearsome ninjas alive. So his courage is without question. Yet one of his bravest acts is when he exposes himself to a deadly radioactive cloud so that the team can escape from attacking Cobra forces. Snake Eyes is trapped in the Arctic cave with the poisonous gas until accidentally freed by Cobra. He struggles with the poisonous gas until he's freed by Cobra. He struggles through a blizzard trying to return to headquarters with the rare crystals urgently needed for the Mass Device machine. During that grim march, he finds a wolf caught in a trap and sets it free. The grateful animal becomes the ninja's loyal companion and brave comrade from that moment on. Duke says he's a complete mystery in many ways, but one thing we all know for sure: you can always count on Snake Eyes to watch your back. And that's a good quote. See, what Duke doesn't know is Snake Eyes and Scarlet have the thing going. You know, and I mean, if you read the comic book and the cartoon, Snake Eyes, it has a romantic link to Scarlet, where in the animated cartoon it's Duke that has the romantic link with Scarlet. But me, like other people that I know that are G.I. Joe fans, a lot of us are Team Snake Eyes. You know, I'm one of them. You know, and so before we go into that, let's take a look at his accessories. Starting with his figure stand. Upraised G.I. Joe logo. Codename Snake Eyes. He's got the canister of the radioactive crystals. And he's got his usual weapon that comes with all G.I. Joes from the cartoon. But in like a rusty brown kind of color. And the next piece is not an accessory. I do not consider animals as an accessory. You know, it's his animal companion. And it's Timber the wolf. Gray with the dark gray eyes, fur around the eyes. Got the snarling thing going on. You know, nice little light gray paint wash underneath the belly. This is a nice looking version of Timber. I like this version. You know, so far this would be my favorite version of Timber. But so let's take a look at Snake Eyes. This is his Sunbow cartoon accurate version. This is when he came out of the radioactive crystal, where his elbows are glowing, face, and his feet. You know, but he's in the typical dark gray uniform, black web gear. Of course, his head can rotate full 360. His arm can lift so high. Rotate the full 360 all the way around. Bends at the elbow. Rotates all the way around. And this one has a little hand looking different because, you know, he has his hand like this to hold the radioactive crystals. But I'll show you that in a minute. But his hand can rotate. So you can put it in any way for him to hold the crystals. And he does have the ab crunch feature, which is the web gear does hinder it a little bit. But his legs can move. Split about that far. He's got the regular gray pants with some silver highlights. And of course he can lift his leg up about so high. Double knee joint. And his feet has got the glowing red crystal radiation on it. But it's got the rocker on it, and it can swivel all the way around. So let's gear up this Snake Eyes. So here we are with the cartoon accurate Snake Eyes from the Mass Device box set. It's good to have a cartoon accurate version of our Joes, because all we do is mostly get the comic book versions. But this one is good to see where it's cartoon accurate from the Sunbow cartoon, at least from the first 5-part miniseries. And he is a great representation of Snake Eyes from the cartoon. Even though in the part where he is in the radioactive crystal mine, Scarlet does show her emotional attachment to Snake Eyes. But I think it's only to his friends, through friendship. But there's a brother and sister love. Even though in the comic book it's more than that. But she's got to keep herself aligned with Duke. But that's beside the point. And I'll show you the whole Snake Eyes Scarlet look here in a moment in the next figure. But this is Snake Eyes. I forgot to rate the Ninja Apprentice Snake Eyes, but I do rank him as a middle tier figure because there wasn't much done with this version. So this one would be middle tier. This one I would say is top tier due to the fact of everything that went on in that 5-part miniseries that Snake Eyes and Timber did. And so I would rate him as a top tier figure. So let's get ready for our next one. And this one is our 25th anniversary Snake Eyes. And we'll start with his file card, which as you can see comes on a single carded figure. There's the back of it, or the front of the card. The file cards can be found on the back of the figures, and it says Commando, codename Snake Eyes. File name classified. Primary military specialty is infantry. Secondary military specialty is hand-to-hand combat instructor. Birthplace is classified. And he's an E5. So he got a demotion here from an E7 down to an E5. In between the cartoon and the 25th anniversary. And it says Snake Eyes is proficient in 12 different unarmed fighting systems. Karate, Kung Fu, and Jiu-Jitsu. And is highly skilled in the use of edged weapons. Has received extensive training in mountaineering, underwater demolitions, jungle, desert, and Arctic survival, and some form of holistic medicine. Qualified expert, all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms. Quote at the bottom says, the man is a total mystery, but he's real good at his job. Heck, he's the best. So that really states another, another quick viewing of this guy. So we're going to go with the figure stand first. Codename Snake Eyes on the front. Upraised G.I. Joe logo. And he's got his TNT satchel badge, which has explosives written on it. He comes with a nicely sculpted battle knife. If I can get to where it's not blurry. His trademark Uzi. And a pistol. Which really shows good for this guy with his trademark weapons. And of course this is where his uniform is completely jet black. There's no gray on this guy at all. Which I think is perfect for this guy because there's no paint apps. So there's no wasted paint. But of course his head can rotate the full 360. This one is kind of tough, but his arm can raise to here, rotate all the way around. He can bend at the elbow. Try to get it to where I can show the rotation. There's the rotation. Where he can rotate. I mean, it's the same articulation, but, I don't have to go to the same articulation. He does have the ab crunch feature, but the web gear prevents it. Of course, he can split about so far. And, he can double bend at the knee. And as usual, the rocker at the ankle. And he can rotate all the way around with his ankle. So let's go ahead and gear this guy up. So here's this Snake Eyes all geared up. I think this is a top tier figure because this one right here, because this is the updated version of the original, but with better articulation. Uh, this is like the most awesome Snake Eyes that I've seen. And of course, like I said, I will show you comparison. I think that makes an awesome, awesome couple with Scarlet and Snake Eyes. This is why I'm on Team Snake Eyes. I mean, you can't argue with that. But that's my opinion. You know, but this is really a really awesome, awesome look for the original Snake Eyes. I like these modern figures because, you know, it gives you a chance, if you didn't have a chance to pick them up in the vintage line, you could pick these guys up, but they got different, the articulation's different. But it's still just like the original. Maybe Sculpting's a little bit better. Technology has improved since the 80s. Since 1982, 83. You know, so, I mean, it is what it is. But that's it for this. This is, like I said, this is a top tier version of Snake Eyes. So we'll put him off to the side as we get ready to do our next one. Welcome back, guys, to our next version of Snake Eyes. Well, this one came in the Legacy 5-pack of G.I. Joes, where the uniform is a little different. In place, he's got the little color on his grenade on his chest. But of course, you got the file card, which is blurry, which I somehow can't get it to focus in good for it. There we go. Commando, codename Snake Eyes. File name classified. Primary military specialty is infantry. He's a secondary military specialty is hand-to-hand combat. Birthplace is classified, and he's still at E5 in this one. Still hasn't got that promotion back. Snake Eyes is proficient in 12 different unarmed fighting systems, karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, and is a highly skilled in the use of edged weapons. He received extensive training in mountaineering, underwater demolitions, jungle, desert, and Arctic survival, and some form of holistic medicine. Qualified expert, NATO and Warsaw pack small arms. The man is a total mystery, but he's real good at his job. Heck, he's the best. Well, this is the same one as the 25th anniversary, but that's the card that came with this version. And of course, typical figure stand, G.I. Joe Uprace logo, codename Snake Eyes. Comes with his satchel, his Uzi, the pistol, and the knife, just like the 25th anniversary did. So let's take a look at this one and put them both together to where you could actually see. There's the lighter coloration, lighter paint apps. This one is more gray than the 25th anniversary. You know, but the articulation's the same. You know, his head does rotate to 360. His arm can lift about that high. Bend at the elbow. Rotate at the elbow. His arm can go all the way back. All the way around. I'll show you the wrist movement on this side. As you can see, the wrist can rotate. And the reason why I'm showing you with this hand and not the other one is I had to glue the other hand back on. And he's got the ab crunch. Legs can split. He can lift his leg so far. Double knee joint. As well as bend at the ankle. And rotate at the ankle. So let's gear this guy up. So here we are with this version of Snake Eyes, all geared up and ready to go. This is another one I do as a top tier figure. I mean, his color is lighter, but he's lower on that top tier. But mainly due to the color being lighter. But it's still the same exact figure, so I might as well put him on the same spot of the top tier. You know, but not too much to say about it because it's actually just a lighter color variation of the 25th anniversary. So I'm going to put him off to the side and get ready for the next one. And here we are with our second comic 2-pack version of Storm Shadow, which this one actually came with Storm Shadow and the glossy redo of the Silent Interlude at issue 21 from the Marvel run. This one does not come with a file card. I've looked, but it doesn't. But of course, you got the upraised G.I. Joe logo, codenamed Snake Eyes. His Uzi, and his arm satchel, his shoulder satchel. He doesn't come with the knife or the gun, which is a shame, but this one is basically just like the two that we just looked at, except for he's in a purple color, like a deep dark purple, with a yellow grenade right there. Silver shades. This is where we start seeing the silver in this guy. You know, of course, the articulation, head swivels. He can lift his arm so high. Roll it all the way back. It bends at the elbow. Rotates at the elbow. He can swivel at the wrist. He does come with the ab crunch feature. And he does come with a holster for the pistol and a sleeve for the knife, sheath for the knife. But of course, he doesn't come with neither. You know, but he can double bend at the knee. And his ankle can pivot, as well as he can rotate at the ankle. So let's go ahead and look at this guy all geared up. So this is a good look of this guy, but the color is way off. He has no file card, so he loses. There's points lost for both the color and the lack of a file card. He's missing his pistol and his knife. So he's really missing a lot for being an original copy of Snake Eyes. But this is a comic book look of his comic book look. So, it's really, really cool he does get some points back. But this is a middle tier Snake Eyes. But he's still cool to have in your collection. Especially to have, if you missed out on a Snake Eyes, a Storm Shadow, and issue 21, and it's hard to find that issue, this is a good place to get them at. So we'll put this one on the side to look at our next Snake Eyes. And this here is our third and final comic book Snake Eyes, where we have Snake Eyes in his torn up uniform. And the comic that came with this one was Silent Issue Part 2 21B, which is supposed to take place right after issue 21 and before issue 22. So, but starting with his accessories, we have codename Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe upraised logo, and he does come with a file card. I almost forgot, with the glossy black. And it says G.I. Joe Ninja, codename Snake Eyes, file name classified. His PMS is infantry. His SMS is hand-to-hand combat. He's still an E5, and his birthplace is classified. And Snake Eyes is the G.I. Joe team's most highly skilled ninja, and has only one opponent capable of putting him to the test. Storm Shadow, the top ninja in Cobra. Snake Eyes does the impossible because he believes nothing is impossible, such as infiltrating and escaping from a heavily guarded Cobra facility, which we know is Destro's Silent Castle. While his goal is to free the captured G.I. Joe team member, does he also leap at the opportunity to battle his ninja nemesis, Storm Shadow? But the G.I. Joe team member is Scarlet. Their matching arm tattoos speak of a mysterious connection between these two martial arts masters. Comment from Duke. You never know what he's thinking, but you always know that when your back's against the wall, he'll be there to stand and fight beside you all the way. Another good comment from Duke. But, of course, he's got his usual signature weapons. The Uzi, the pistol, the knife, and the satchel. So let's gear this guy up and look at him. Oh, and by the way, I didn't do the articulation because it's all the same for the rest of them. So I'm not really going to do the articulation. I'm just going to show off their accessories and then put them back together. But, of course, this is the Snake Eyes from 21B. But of course, you can see his uniform is ripped, which makes it awesome. He's back to the black uniform. He's got all his weapons back. So this guy goes back to the top tier. You know, for the back, he escapes the middle tier again to go back to the top. But it's good to have this version of Snake Eyes. So we'll put him off to the side. And we're going to look at our next Snake Eyes. Yay! So let's go ahead and do it. And here's our next version of Snake Eyes, which is the updated version of the most popular Snake Eyes, the updated version of version 2 that comes with another Timber the Wolf. So let's take a look at his file card. Commando, codename Snake Eyes. So I wonder, did he get his promotion back yet? And it says his file name is classified. Primary military specialty is infantry. Secondary military specialty is hand-to-hand combat instructor. Grade is an E5. Still at an E5. Birthplace is classified. I mean, come on, Snake Eyes. You come back up into the E7. And the subject served as long-range patrol or long-range recon patrol in Southeast Asia, which is Vietnam. Left the service to study mystic martial arts with the same ninja family that produced Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes was living an eclectic existence alone in the high Sierras with his pet wolf named Timber when he was recruited for the G.I. Joe team. Qualified expert in all NATO and Warsaw packed small arms, black belt in 12 different fighting systems, and highly skilled in the use of edged weapons. But you demoted him and kept him in the same rank for the last couple figures. Snake Eyes was tempered on the anvil of life until he was dangerous as a razor-edged sword, flailing in the dark. The G.I. Joe team sheathed that sword and harnessed the deadly energy, but even they are wont to forget that even within the safety of its scabbard, a blade retains its cutting edge. Hey, sorry about that. My phone was ringing. I will not answer it when I'm making a video. And of course, you got the knife, the Uzi, and the sword, and the figure stand, which is the same. But he also has a white version of Timber the Wolf. But still, the first one we looked at, the gray one, is still my favorite version. So let's gear him up. So here we go with another Snake Eyes all geared up. The original vintage version of this guy came with a backpack where he could harness the sword. This one does not, so he loses some points off of that. But other than that, this is a top tier version of Snake Eyes. Like I said, all the articulations for every guy here on out is the same. It's just different uniforms. But this is a cool looking Snake Eyes. I'm glad I have them. So let's look at our next version, which is the version that came after this guy. So let's go ahead and get him ready. So here's another version of Snake Eyes right here. I forgot to remove the sword from the backpack, so hey, bear with me. I'm not perfect. But this one also comes with a file card, so let's go ahead and read the file card. The question before we read it, does he move up from an E5? It is Commando, codename Snake Eyes, classified. Primary military specialty is infantry. Of course, his secondary is hand-to-hand combat instructor. Birthplace is classified. And yes, he's back to an E7. And the text says, subject is Ranger qualified and graduated from Recondo School in Nha Trang. Prior to his generally accepted that he received extensive training in mystic martial arts from the same ninja family that produced Storm Shadow. No official records in existence. Qualified expert in all NATO and Warsaw packed small arms, black belt in 12 fighting systems, and is highly skilled in the use of edged weapons. What can you say about a good guy who goes bump in the night? The man is the baddest dude in the valley. He scares pit bulls. Oh, that's amazing if you scare a pit bull. He should wear a sign on his chest that says, don't mess, period. The bad guys would like to see him declared illegal under the Geneva Convention. On the other hand, he is kind to small animals. He scares pit bulls, but he's kind of small animals. Interesting. But then, of course, he's got his usual weapons. This visual accessories, the upraised G.I. Joe logo on the codename Snake Eyes on the front of his figure stand. He comes with a backpack, which was also with Night Creeper, but Snake Eyes had it first. He's got this awesome sword. He's got his two knives. They do separate, but they look better as a cross placed on his chest. He comes with this pair of long stick nunchaku and an Uzi. Go figure. Snake Eyes and an Uzi. I wonder if G.I. Joe's putting on something here. So let's go look at this guy geared up. And I did forget to mention one accessory. He does come with this thing right here with night vision goggles that go right here on the side of his head. But I don't like it. I think it takes away from the figure. But this is another top tier Snake Eyes. And I'm glad he got his promotion back to an E7. You know, he started out as an E7, dropped down to an E5 for several figures, back up to an E7. Way to go, Snake Eyes. But this is a good Snake Eyes. This comes from the comic book where he was captured by the Baroness. And he takes the Payne Brothers, a piece of the Payne Brothers outfits and forms this uniform. As well as he takes their weapons. So this is a good looking Snake Eyes. This is a top tier Snake Eyes. So let's put him on the side so we can look at our next two. And yes, I said next two because these two are the modern updated versions of version 4 that was sold exclusively for Dollar General. You got the original of the updated version of figure 4 and his green variant. So, of course, they didn't come with file cards. They lose file card points for that. You know, and he's got the G.I. Joe logo, upraised G.I. Joe logo on it, G.I. Joe figure stand, no name on the front, and a black sword for this guy. This guy, he comes with the same thing, no name on the front of the figure stand, upraised logo, but a green sword. So let's take a look at these guys geared up. Well, before we do that, we're going to look at the guys separately. As you can see, this one is like the version of version 4, which everybody says couldn't have been Snake Eyes, but we only knew it was Snake Eyes because of it was written on the card. Otherwise, you couldn't tell. This is the first time Snake Eyes had color in it. You know, and speaking of which, the vintage version of this Snake Eyes was the first Snake Eyes I ever had as a kid. I was real late in getting Snake Eyes. And then saw him, you know, on the side. This is like version 2 of version 4. This is version 4, version 2. Or this is version 4B. You know, hey, so let's gear these guys up. So let's talk about these two guys together. What can I say? They're really blah. Didn't have much screen time in the Deke series. Didn't have much time in the comic book. Of course, this guy never really existed in either forms of media, nor in action figure form. This one just got a few minor appearances in the comic book and the cartoon. In this uniform. You know, it is what it is. Go figure. These guys I would put at the bottom tier because they don't really look like Snake Eyes, but they are. You know, it is what it is. So these guys, Snake Eyes finally gets on the bottom tier. So let's take a look at our next one, which I will pause this so we can set him up. And this is the Pursuit of Cobra Snake Eyes, the City Strike. And of course, there's a picture of Snake Eyes right there. Text reads, Snake Eyes is a ninja master and military commando who trains the G.I. Joe team in hand-to-hand combat. He infiltrates a suspected Cobra lab located in a large Asian city, using as XN number 2 Ascension pack designed for Silent Night Ninja Commando operations. Of course, it says Snake Eyes. His name's classified. Serial number's classified. His grade is classified. Preferred weapons: hand forged Harlem katana swords. You know, which he did come with Uzis, but I gave him to another figure because, you know, I was tired of seeing Snake Eyes with Uzis. But of course, he's got his two swords, but I got sleeved in held in the sleeve, and two pistols, and a dog tag figure stand with Snake Eyes written on the front. So let's take a look at this guy in his uniform, where he looks slick and really, really awesome. Got the Arasi Kage tattoo symbol right there. You know, it is really looking good, guys. So let's take a look at him all geared up. And I will classify this Snake Eyes as a top tier figure. I mean, just look at this dude. Snake Eyes looks like he's really ready to go. And speaking of Joes, let's do a vehicle driver version of Snake Eyes. Yeah. So here we are with a 50th anniversary Snake Eyes. One that was in the Arctic Assault 2-pack with the piloting the Arctic Ghost Hawk, which actually came with a Cobra Wolf and a Cobra Ice Viper. So let's look at this guy's file card, where it says Commando, codename Snake Eyes. File name classified. PMS is infantry, hand-to-hand combat instructor is a secondary, birthplace is classified, and he's demoted again to E5. Oh no, Snake Eyes. And the text reads, Snake Eyes is proficient in 12 different unarmed fighting systems, including karate, kung fu, and jiu-jitsu, among others. And he's highly skilled in the use of the katana, dagger, and other edged weapons. He has received extensive training in mountaineering, underwater demolitions, jungle, desert, and Arctic survival, and at least one form of holistic medicine. He is a qualified expert in all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms. You know, so it's pretty cool. And of course, he's got his accessories. G.I. Joe figure stand with codename Snake Eyes on the front, Go lettering on the abrasive part, the sword with the scabbard, and 2 Uzis. And he also comes with the Arctic Ghost Hawk. I'm not going to do a full review on it, but you can fit him right here in the cockpit. You know, pretty much, but it's kind of hard to do it, but you can fit him right in there. So let's gear this guy up. But I would rate this version of Snake Eyes as a middle tier figure, due to his, I'm not used to him doing the whole winter look. But the Ghost Hawk is top tier vehicle, but that's for another day. But this is a good looking for Snake Eyes though. You know, so let's put the Skyhawk to the side. So we could put this Snake Eyes to the side. So we can look at a movie version. So here's another movie version of Storm Shadow from the Rise of Cobra. Good looking Snake Eyes. This is the Paris Pursuit version. And it says, Ninja Master and Military Commando Snake Eyes trains the G.I. Joe team in hand-to-hand combat. He goes to Paris to track down the nanomite weapons before Cobra forces can unleash them. His loyal pet Wolf Timber is trained in ninja tacting and protection. And of course, he's got everything that's camouflage. So he says, it's just like the last one that we read. That was the comic one. And of course, he's got the dog tag Snake Eyes look, the sword that can be removed, the an assault rifle, a pistol, and a knife, and the third version of Timber that I own. But this one is on all black. This one is now my favorite Timber. You know, and of course this is Snake Eyes in his Paris gear, you know, with the hood and everything to go along with it. And so let's gear this guy up and look at him. And I swore I would never like the movie figures, but here I go, I like this guy. You know, except for he's got that knife that's too much to carry. But he comes with another version of Timber in different color fur. Different total uniform look. I mean, this guy looks awesome. So I would rate this as a top tier Snake Eyes figure. You know, Snake Eyes gets a top tier a lot in this video. He got 2 put in the bottom tier and like 2 that got put in the middle tier. You know, but this guy is a top tier version. And then the following this guy, we got one from Retaliation. So we're going to go ahead and look at him. And of course, this is another one that does not come with a file card, but comes with a boatload of accessories. With the, well, he didn't come with a figure stand. I just happened to have an extra Snake Eyes figure stand. But he comes with 2 claws, 2 Uzis, a knife, a backpack with 2 swords, and another handgun with a silencer, removable silencer. So this guy does come packed up with weapons. You know, but if you can find an extra figure stand, go ahead and give it to him. He's going to need it. But this one is from the Retaliation 3-pack from the Ninja Tactical 3-pack from the Retaliation movie. You know, and of course, everything just looks the same. Got the Arashikage symbol right there. You know, he's got this blue kind of rib gear with some gold patches with some knives that are not removable. You know, and whatnot. And place to carry all his weapons. So I think that's pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and gear him up and look at him. So, of course, here's Snake Eyes. You know, and geared up. I think this guy is awesome looking because you could put all his stuff together. That what makes him awesome. You know, I would suggest you get everybody get that Tactical 3-pack to get this guy. Plus, you get an Agent Mouse, and then you also get another version of Sergeant Airborne. But if anything, I wouldn't get it for the Sergeant Airborne, but I would get it for the Agent Mouse and for this version of Snake Eyes. You know, so I would say go ahead and get it. This is a top tier figure. So let's look at our last Snake Eyes figure for the day. And this is our last Snake Eyes figure to look at for the day. The Retro Line Snake Eyes. Which is, trial card, it says Snake Eyes. Rogue Commando. His primary specialty is infantry. Secondary specialty is combat instructor. Birthplace is classified. Of course, no pay grade. Proficient in 12 unarmed fighting systems. Jungle, desert, and Arctic survival. So we're assuming he's still at an E5 because he got demoted again. But, and it comes, of course, it comes in 4 other languages that I can't read, so I ain't no really sense of even trying. It comes with 2 swords, Uzi, knife and a removable knife from a sleeve, and a pistol. So let's go ahead and gear this guy up. So here we are with the Snake Eyes Retro Line. And I think this has got to be my favorite Snake Eyes, because I love it when Snake Eyes can come out all guns a-barrel, ready to fight, ready to take out some Cobras. You know, so this guy is really ready to go and go into battle. So this got to be my favorite Snake Eyes. And this is another top tier Snake Eyes. I think he was just perfect. But that would do it for this week. You know, as we looked at 15 different Snake Eyes. Thank y'all for showing. Thanks for putting up with me for the last 42 minutes and 6 seconds. So, see y'all in the next one. And now you know, and knowing is head to battle. And next month is 2 G.I. Joe reviews on Wednesday, next Wednesday. Being that it's my 9th year anniversary on YouTube. So thank you guys for everybody. Or thank you everybody for being here. I hope y'all get to watch it. I'll be doing 2 G.I. Joe tour reviews and a bunch of other stuff to celebrate the anniversary. And it's Cobra month. You know, so I will be doing all Cobra themed figures for the month. So see you all in the next one. And now you know, and knowing is head to battle. See you in the next one. Peace.